Welcome. How are you? I feel like I haven't seen you in forever.
I know I missed one of them. I just totally forgot. And then the last one, I think I had sick kids or Lord only
Oh,
knows.
summer's been hit and miss for people. I'm like, it's okay. It's summer. Go play. If that feels more important to go play than be on a meeting, go do that.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and then my kids, are your kids Boise School District, West Ada, homeschooled? What do you do with
Oh,
them?
so I'm actually in Utah. I'm in Vernal, Utah.
Oh, okay.
So we start school a week from today. We start with school next Tuesday. How about yours?
West Ada that's the district my kids are in, and they
Uh-huh.
start tomorrow. So we had like the whole meet and greet. I've got one kid in the bath. I'm like, y'all
Oh.
are going to bed early tonight.
I know every year my husband's like, we should probably start getting the kids like prepped ahead of time to go to bed early and stuff. And I'm like, that's a lovely thought, but it's not going to happen.
You're welcome to implement that, hubby. Go ahead and let
Exactly.
me know.
Exactly. But it always works out so perfectly because we don't try and do that. And we go to bed like earlier than normal, like earlier than like our 10 or 11 o'clock schedule in the
Yeah.
summer, right? But then they get up for school and then they're tired that night because they got up early for school. So they're ready for bed at regular time. I'm like, you're like back in your mode in 24 hours rather than like trying to fight it for a
Yeah.
week ahead of time or whatever, you know? So it was
Yeah.
super. I'm like, it works out great.
Well, and everybody's always excited about the first day of school. So there's not any
Exactly.
things like getting up and getting ready and all
All
those
the things.
things. So
Your hair looks so cute. I love it.
thank you.
You cut
Thank
it?
you. I did. I cutted it. I cutted it.
Cut it?
Cut it and added purple
I
and
love it.
yeah.
You look
Yeah.
really, really good.
Thank
Tell me,
you.
I have a song I want to do, but let's wait just a minute to see if anyone else that joins us. Otherwise, it'll be just you and me, and you get a whole hour of coaching all to yourself.
Woohoo.
But tell me what's going on. Tell me how like you're implementing all the different things and how things are going.
Um, so I honest to goodness haven't been doing a whole lot. So I had my foster kiddo
Mhm.
and it went from hard to really awful in a very short
Father
span. So
knows
we
about
actually
Sorry, I'm trying to get the song ready while you're talking, and it pulled
no,
up
it's
something
fine.
quickly.
So I actually ended up having to have him removed from our home because I was
Really?
worried, yeah, about my safety and our kiddos' safety. So actually I think that's why I missed one was because that was the day he left and I was like, I can't function.
Wow.
uh so I
Hey,
really
it's Ashley and a little.
I
All right.
spent like 3 weeks just laying on the couch because it our goal was to adopt him and it felt like a death. I still get to talk to him occasionally, but like I've been really mourning the loss of that part of our family. And so honestly, I feel like I've only slowly started to return to my normal self. And so yeah, I really don't even feel like I've been able to give the whole program. I've only attended one of our like weekly courses that you have pre-recorded. I think I've done one or two just because it just was so overwhelming for me with all of the aspects of my life. And so I'm really excited to actually start kind of jumping in and actually participating in the things that I paid for and like want to do.
Yeah.
So, um,
Have
yeah.
you allowed yourself to process um not having your kiddo?
Yeah, I mean, I wallowed in it definitely. My children were like, chicken nuggets for dinner again. Woo!" Like you're on your own. Like cereal, I don't care. Like as
Right.
long as requires no effort on my part.
Yeah.
Um, so it's been very difficult and it's frustrating because I feel like the mental health system in the US failed us.
Mm,
I think they fail a lot of young children because there's just not the support. So that part is really frustrating.
yeah.
And it makes me feel angry, but I know that I it was not the right person for my foster kiddo right now. And I want him to have the best things in the world. So, it's been very, very difficult, but I feel like, slowly we're getting to a point where like it sits a little more peaceful and I don't feel like such a big hole.
Um, how long ago was that? You
He left July 15th.
okay. About a
So
month.
yeah, it's still pretty new. And like I said, I spent quite a few weeks just like laying on the couch. I got up, went to work, made sure my other two were taken care of, and then just kind of wallowed. So
Well, like you said, it's like a mourning. It's like you
yeah,
lost someone, and that's like part of the stages of grief there.
yeah, yeah.
Um,
My dogs are here. They're helping.
is one of them a puppy? Oh no, just two different.
No, they're lab Aussie. They're
Gotcha.
both 3.5. They're siblings.
Fun. One of them looked way bigger than the other on the screen parts, but not so.
Yeah.
Not so. Well, good. Well, let's do our song to set the energy, and then we can talk. I'd love to coach you through anything more with that or anything else that you need help with. So that's so funny because when I was choosing the time for the call, and then more people joined, like I totally love that. But you came to mind specifically when I was
Yeah.
choosing the time for the call. It was choose a time that Sachi can come, and I was like, she specifically requested evening, so I'm going to choose an evening time.
Yay!
So I love that you're here.
Yay! Kathy, no, she doesn't want to talk to you.
Okay. So the song that I want to do, animals are so intuitive. I love that your animals come over to you when you're talking about being sad and grief and stuff, because they're like, oh, she's sad. She's talking about sad stuff. Let's go. She needs our help.
This one is Bronte. He's my favorite, and this one. But anytime anything is going on, I'm happy. I'm like, he is my mirror of emotions and stuff. It's just, yeah, it's pretty amazing.
That's awesome. Awesome. Okay, well, the song that I want to do is our third eye chakra goddess song. So you've probably only listened to it once if you've just been through one of the modules.
Yeah, I've done it. Won't be in this one. Yeah, actually, and I was thinking, I think I've done it twice.
Okay.
But I haven't. Okay, so put on lotion and neutronis, please. Thank you.
Jonas, do you guys speak Spanish?
No. No, you can do it. I'm in a meeting room, remember? Sorry.
You're good.
Yeah.
I'm from Mexico, so I speak Spanish. So when you're calling them Jonas, I was like, oh, do they speak Spanish in their house?
I speak more Spanish than Japanese. I grew up in Central Valley, California, and so Spanish is sort of. I speak a lot of Spanish, but not. Yeah, not.
I love it. Okay, well, I'm going to share my screen and show the lyrics. And we'll have the sound playing. I would love for you to sing it to the extent that you feel comfortable doing that.
Okay.
It's going to be really powerful and part of our intention for our call today. So let's see here. We're going to share sound. Give thumbs up. Can you hear that sound okay? Okay. Want the lyrics.
I trust my intuition and I follow where it leads. I clearly see the path to follow and my next steps upon it. I am a goddess and I am guided by my inner wisdom. I am discerning and I trust where I am being led today. I trust myself today. Creative, innovative, yes, that is who I am. Intuitive, insightful, I trust in God's great plan. I am a goddess
Just relax your body. You might even feel good. Lean back against your dashboard there. All of your energy, all the spaces in your head, flowing down and impacting your body and impacting the back side of your body. Relaxing back. Like settling back into back. All the awareness, the energy that was in your hips, now in your body, down to your belly. Allowing yourself to just let and feel.
Turn yourself up just a tiny bit. Sorry.
That down a little bit. How is that? Is that a little better?
Yeah.
As you exhale out through the mouth when you're ready, you're going to exhale any emotions, any frustration, any experiences out of your life that are not in alignment. Exhaling out, and you're just going to keep inhaling and exhaling. And every time you inhale, you're going to exhale and love and satisfaction and light. And exhaling, anything that builds, and I'll name off a few things that you can just receive and release, add anything in that feels like it's I'm not safe. Inhaling love and joy. Exhaling doubt, fear, and overwhelm. Inhaling gratitude, acceptance, understanding. Exhaling scarcity, not enoughness, frustration. Inhaling love, kindness, prosperity, truth. Exhaling doubt, anger, Allow yourself to be in this beautiful space of peace and trust and love. Okay. What did you feel? What did you notice?
Oh, it feels good to like, I'm gonna breathe in something positive and exhale something negative, something that's like pent up, and to be able to give words to those, I think is super powerful.
Agreed. Agreed. Anything specific that came up for you?
Um, Not really. I've been trying very hard to do a lot of like daily gratitudes. And so when you're like breathe in gratitude, like that for me, it like, rings these bells because I've been right now really working on focusing on gratitude and the things that I'm grateful for, big and small.
Excuse me.
Bless you.
Thank you. Absolutely love that. Taking some notes here. Beautiful. Okay. What questions you have? What do you want help with? What's going on?
I guess one of the things that and again, I haven't gotten to do a bunch of the videos yet. Like it's still very starting.
Yeah,
And
totally fine.
but one of the things right now is, it feels weird talking to some stranger about, not that you're some stranger, but I feel like I don't feel sensual, which then to me goes hand in hand with sexual. And so then like there's this lack of gap or this big gap for me, like connecting those pieces. And I'm a pretty confident woman. I don't, my body's not perfect, but it is what I was given. And I'm grateful for the body that I have because I'm happy and healthy. Um, but I have a very sexual husband who would have sex, 15 times a day if he could. And I'm like, if we made it once a month, that would be great for me. And so they really don't add up. And so the other day, I struggle with like for men or my husband at least, he could walk by me and I could bend over and all of a sudden he's ready to have sex. And I'm like, it requires significantly more effort on my part. And what do I need to feel that way? Like, what are my turn-ons? And I don't just mean like physically, but also like, because I think as for a woman, I need to feel like I'm getting help at home, that I'm getting love and support in the ways that I need love and support. And how do I communicate that? How do I figure out even what all of those things are? Because he wants to know, because he wants to give me those things, but I don't know the answer or even where to go to find the answer, I think is some of their, yeah.
That,
So
yeah, makes tons of sense. And that is very, very, very common. Like you are one of millions of other women that have this exact same question. So, so you're not alone, but it is like, okay, well then, like, what do we need to know? Like, for crying out loud, what needs to happen here so that we can like fix this problem for all these millions of women? Were you on the call a few months ago when we talked about let me grab my notes really fast. Something I wanted to go over. There's a terminology that's so, so helpful in this, and I can't remember. Okay, yes. So there's really when it comes down to, oh, do you need a minute?
No, I was trying to find
Okay.
my, the dog laid on it. Oh, there it is.
You're like,
I got
so really when it comes down to, there's two main types um when it comes to sex, and that's a responsive type and a spontaneous type. So spontaneous, so generally the man is going to be the spontaneous and the woman is going to be the responsive. And that's why, like you say, like your husband can like just walk by you and he's like, hey,
Yeah.
like it literally requires nothing. And so, um, actually that's my bad. I got it mixed up. That's a responsive type. So responsive type is they feel physically aroused first and then no, okay, I am getting it backwards. I haven't talked about this for a while, so I'm glad that you brought it up again. Okay. Yes. So spontaneous is what you're describing with your husband, where it's just like any little trigger and it's more of a mental thing that then like becomes a physical thing.
Yeah.
So most women are that, or excuse me, most men are that type, but most women are responsive. And responsive is they need some kind of physical arousal first, and then the mental desire comes. So the physical arousal would be like literally like kissing, touching, like some kind of something like, and tell me if this is resonates with you. When you do start to have sex, like initially you're like probably like, I'm not really in the mood, whatever. But then as you get going, you're like, oh yeah, I do like this. This is like, why don't I want to do this more often? I actually enjoy this. This actually feels really good. Is that pretty much what happened?
Yeah.
Yeah. So you need so aside from like the emotional side of things, you actually need physical arousal first before you're going to be like in the game mentally.
Yeah.
So that's going to be an important piece for you to know is like, okay, it's okay if I don't really want to have sex at first, because I know that once we just get going, then I'm going to want to, and then I'm going to be glad that I did. It's one of those things that's like, maybe I don't really want to, but I know I'm going to be glad once I'm doing it. And so it's kind of like remembering that little piece is going to make a big difference. The other aspect though that you're talking about of like, I need help around the house. I need some, I need emotional connection. And that's important. Those are just important things to communicate with your husband about so that he knows. Because like you said, he wants to please you. He wants to have a wife that wants to have sex with him. Like that's super important. It would be fun to look at to see your husband's astrology pieces and see how this shows up for him. I'm looking here at yours, your Pisces sun, your Cancer moon, and then your Mars is over there in Scorpio. So that's all sorts of water energy. You've got tons and tons of water, tons of the emotions and the feelings. So for you with Mars there, because so Venus is our sensuality, Mars is our sexuality. So where's Venus? So Venus, though, that's fun. And they're actually, that's interesting. So your Venus is in Aquarius, so is mine. I love that. And it's really an interesting placement because Venus is all about like the connection, the sensuality, the feelings, the emotions, and Aquarius is very cerebral. Aquarius is very mental. So it's something that might make a difference for you guys is to have stimulating conversations to where you're mentally engaged, and that's going to help to turn you on physically. That kind of like turns on your Venus, because your Venus is like, ooh, we're engaging mentally because your Venus is in Aquarius. And so it's kind of like this mental thing that when you feel connected to them mentally, which kind of filters into emotionally for us women, especially with your Venus there, then you're going to be more turned on physically.
I could see that.
Have you had experience with that in the past?
Yeah. Yeah, I could see that. Because when I feel connected to him, like we're all on the same page and like I'm much more physically attracted to him, not my husband. Anyway, you know what I mean. Sexually attracted.
Yeah, for sure. So that's an important piece to remember. So we have, and I'll just share this because maybe it'll help you or help others, but we have kind of established, and this is like a very, very beginner level piece, but if you haven't done it, it's a really, really powerful first piece. When we were first working on fixing our sexual relationship, we just established a schedule. We were like, we're just gonna have sex on Sunday nights and on Thursday nights. Because we were like you were, he was like, anytime is a good time for me. You know, any day, day or night, as many times, whatever. And I was like, once a month, how does that work? So to find a time that worked, so to find a time that worked for both of us, I was willing to go to twice a week. Like that, I was like, I can handle twice a week. Like I wasn't in a place where I was really enjoying it yet, but I knew that it was important and it was important to him. So I was like, I'm willing to pop around and go twice a week instead of once a month. So we did, it was Sunday night and Thursday nights. And that was just like, I just knew like that's on the schedule. That's what we're doing. And so it did it like, you can have sex when you have a headache. You can have sex when you've had a long day. You can have sex, like, you can just have sex. Like, it's really not that deep, right? And so that was a really, really helpful first piece in our journey of just deciding we're just going to do it. And then from there, we worked into how can we make this more enjoyable? And so because we had designated days and times, and it was like at night after the kids were in bed because they were little at the time, those nights, he put the kids to bed. He helped clean up dinner. Like he did more of those like evening things that usually I ended up being the one, not that he didn't help, but I was kind of the one in charge. Because I, you know, like he was like, what can I do to help you? I want you to be in the mood. I don't want this to be a chore, you know? So he's like, what can I do to help you? And that was what I had at the time was if you'll put kids to bed, if you'll help get the kitchen clean up so I can have time, like I can go take a bath, I can go relax and read for a little bit, I can have a break to disconnect from mom energy and go into wife energy.
I like that.
Have you implemented any of that so far?
We had a schedule, ours is Wednesday night, or my husband only got once a week, yours got lucky. But I've never thought, because one of my biggest complaints is that I feel like I do all of it. And so I love that because I think there's something to that. If I had that extra support on, especially on those nights, I think I would be way more turned on because usually at bedtime, like I get home from work, we do this marathon, we do dinner, we do homework, we get ready for the next day. I get my kids into bed. By the time I get them into bed, I want to just lay in my bed and read because it's the only moment of the day that's mine.
Yeah, I love reading too.
Yeah. So I like a lot.
So communicating that to him, even like going a step further, maybe Wednesday nights is your night off. Maybe you get home, maybe you don't even come home from work. Maybe he gets home from work and he does all the kids stuff and bedtime and everything, and you just go straight from work to like shopping or friends or dinner or movie, whatever feels good to you. Maybe you just go instead of the library and read your book. Like maybe you get that whole evening off and you come home after the kids are in bed, ready to get it on.
Yeah. I don't know if I could get that lucky, but I definitely like the hour or two beforehand.
Goals, right? Goals.
Start small.
I'm like putting on your brain like what this could look like, because especially for him, it's so amazing to a man when he can feel like he's giving his woman what she wants and what she needs, and like he can really, because masculine energy wants to support feminine energy. Like they literally want to give us the moon and the stars and everything. They just don't know what that is. They don't know what we want.
Yeah.
And so you getting clarity, and even just starting with this, like I would really love to, you know, have you do cleanup and baths and homework and stuff, and I get an hour, and then like you come and bring the kids to me, or we like meet up and have, you know, prayer or whatever you do for like your nighttime bedtime routine, or maybe he does the whole bedtime routine or whatever that looks like. But work on compromising onto that and letting him know that, you know what this would mean for me? This would give me that peace and the calmness and the opportunity to release all the worries and the frustration and get out of mom mode and get into sexy wife mode, sexy Sachi mode. And I guarantee he will do everything in his power to make that happen. Not just because of sex, like sex is a huge part of it, and it's meant to be a huge part of it for men, but just because you finally giving him something specific that he can do with a tangible, this is what will happen. If you can do this, it will feel like this, and then we can do this. So it makes
Yes.
sense for their logical man brain, and they're like, yes, that I can do. That I can do.
Okay. I
And
like
it might,
that.
and it won't be perfect. Like probably kids will come and find you if that's what they're used to being able to do as a mom. You know, I don't know anything about what your home life is like, but if they're used to
They
mom
walk
being
right
able to
by
does
dad
everything,
and they're like, can you open this jar?
Ah! We used to go on road trips because we do a lot of traveling, and we'd be all in the car together, and the kids would be like, mom, mom that. And Dave was just driving and totally just like singing along the music and just jamming out and mom. And finally I would go, Dad feels really sad that nobody's talking to him. Look, some of you should talk
Like,
to
no,
Dad.
I don't. No, I don't.
And they're like, oh, Dad. And he's like, yeah, what? But you're right.
Yeah.
They just don't even, it's just mom. And so a bit of that will be retraining them and being willing to like, let it be messy, let it be awkward before it's elegant, and let it be messy. You know,
Yeah.
which is why just putting on your brain, it might be a good idea to just like, I'm out. I love you. Goodbye.
Yeah.
Even if it's just like maybe you still come home from work and help with stuff, but then maybe when it's your quiet time, you leave. Even if you just drive down the block and sit in your car and read your book.
Yeah. I like it. I like it a lot.
Good. So, when you approach your husband about all this, one of the most important things that we can remember as women talking to our men, feminine energy, talking to masculine energy, if we as women will focus on our feelings and approaching all of our conversations really from I'm feeling like, or it feels like, or I'm having the impression, something that helps you to get into your body and out of your head. Anytime that you're like, I think that, or I think it's because you're in your head, and masculine energy, it doesn't respond to head. It doesn't respond to the head because that's the head is the logical part. And so you're meeting the same energy. We want to be in our feelings and our emotions so that their masculine logical energy can respond and can offer that support and can offer the solution. It can offer the logic. And that's challenging for us women to do, especially when we are strong, powerful women, because even just like with this situation that or these ideas that I've just given you, like those are some really powerful logical steps. Like you kind of now have, oh, this is exactly what needs to happen. But and it would be interesting to see because everyone's going to be different. You approaching him saying, this is what my coach Danicia told me we need to do. He might be like, dude, that sounds amazing. Yes. Or that might trigger like kind of the I'm telling you what to do part of his brain. Right.
Yeah.
So approaching this, even though we've kind of talked this all through, approaching this when you talk to him of I would really, so here's an example of like what I might say if it was me and my husband. I really want to enjoy sexual intimacy with you more. I know that's really important to you and it's important to me. I'm just not sure how to do that yet, but I really want that to be a really beautiful experience for both of us. And I feel like there's some changes that we need to make because I just don't know. Let's see, how would I say that? I feel like there's such a better way that we can do this. Do you have any ideas of what that could be? Could you help me try and figure out what that could be? And let him come up with some ideas. He might be like, what if you took the night off? Like that might be his idea himself, right? Or it might be something smaller, or he might be like, I don't know, but I'm thinking, what about this or what about that? And then you could kind of talk into this and share some of these feelings. And that's where you could be like, I was talking with my mentor about this, and she had some suggestions that have worked for her and her husband. Maybe we could try some of those. Would you be okay if I shared them with you? But you see how that's a very different conversation rather than Danicia told me that we need to do this.
Yeah.
That comes across as, even though it's great ideas and it will probably work, it comes across as you being in masculine energy, trying to tell another masculine energy what needs to happen. And then it becomes kind of this power struggle. Where
Yeah.
you approaching him in beautiful feminine energy with your feelings and your desires, all of a sudden he's like, I've got to rescue my damsel in distress. I've got to figure this out for her. I've got to make this happen. I want to make all her dreams come true. And when we do that, we will almost always get more, receive more than what we would ever have dreamed of receiving by us trying to figure it out and present an already completed idea.
Yeah. It's interesting, the feminine and the masculine energy, because in our home, I essentially dictate what happens. All the choices that happen in our house are like my choices. I make significantly more money than my husband. We run our lives based off what works for me, and my husband just sort of like rolls along with all of it. And so it's like, how do I let some of that go for myself? Because I sure as hell don't want to make all of the choices all the time. Like, I don't want to do that. But I'm also, I've done it so long and I'm kind of controlling and all of these things. So how do I like move into that feminine energy and let some of that masculine energy go? I went and bought like some skirts. I have dangly earrings on the days that I don't work. Yeah, I got my ears pierced.
Bye.
Part of the reason I cut my hair and like is because then I wear it down and I feel a little more girly. Like, those are super superficial things, but they make me feel a little more girly. But it's like, how do you, when you're that person, like, how do you move into that feminine energy? How do you get there?
So first of all, let's recognize that you are naturally feminine. I'm looking here at your astrology. You are Pisces sun, Pisces ascendant, Cancer moon. That is water, water, water. Water is your intuition. Water is your emotions, your feelings. It is very much the feminine energy. So you in your natural state, if you can let go of all of the like need to control and the worries and the fears and the, oh no, what's going to happen? You will open up to the most beautiful, incredible feminine energy that is there available. Like, it's like, I feel like it's like right there below. I know so funny, like you talk about like, put some skirts and I did the earrings. I'm like, oh, that feminine energy. It's like, oh, here we go, here we go. It's our turn. It's like so excited. It's so fun. It just is a matter of what it feels like, and you tell me if this resonates. It feels like it feels like a leap of faith.
Yes.
It feels like a leap of faith to let go of the control, let go of me being in charge, let go of like I need to know, have all the structure and all the da 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 da, and being willing to step into the river and just start floating and be like, cool, let's see where this goes.
That sounds terrifying.
How do you feel about water?
I love water. I love water. We're a family of fishes. So yeah, I love water, but the metaphor, like in practice, set me in a pond and send me down the creek and I'm blissfully happy. But like when you apply it to my life, the idea of like turning over all the things for my husband, I'm like, ooh.
Do you have any idea what his astrology stuff is, like his birth date time or anything?
Yeah, he is 7/4/1982, and I want to say he was born like at 11:10 or 11:50 at night.
What's his first name?
Tyler,
Okay, birth date again?
July 4th, 1982.
Independence Day, baby.
Yeah.
And what time did you say?
I want to say it's like 11:10 or 11:50 at night.
50 or 15?
I think it's either 11:10 or 11:50.
We'll start with one. Shouldn't make that big of a difference in the main ones. And where did you say?
Los Angeles, California.
Just to see for fun. So he's Cancer Sun, obviously. He's Capricorn Moon. And he's a Pisces ascendant. So he has two of his. So you have all three of your main placements. Your sun, your moon, and your ascendant are in water signs. He has two, his sun and his ascendant in water signs. And then he has a Capricorn moon. And that Capricorn moon, Capricorn, that's what I am. That's my sun sign. Capricorn is very logical. It's earth energy. So it's very practical. It's very grounded. It's very like, okay, what are the steps that we need to take? It's very business minded. It's the energy of the goat that climbs just like a steady climb up the mountain. It's not glamorous. It's just like, yeah, we're just gonna climb the mountain. That's what we do. No big deal. And being able to get things done. Are you seeing any of that in him?
Yes.
Okay. So that aspect right there, just knowing he's a Cancer, or excuse me, a Capricorn moon, I'm like, girl, you can trust him. You can trust him to get things done, to be logical and practical and organized, because that's how he feels inside. So your sun sign is the energy that you live life by. So his is Cancer, very intuitive, very emotional, very like if he's in alignment, he would be, it would be and is the most amazing father, because he's sensitive and he's communicative and he's like really, really cares about feelings, whether or not he's actually in that energy or has been, because men in Cancer energy have it hard in our world because big men don't cry, for whatever the term, like big boys don't cry or whatever. Like men generally try and get the intuitive emotional side of them worked out of them. That's kind of the role that society plays, is to get them more in their heads, more in that logical energy. But he has the balance of both. He has his sun sign that is that very emotional and intuitive, and then he has his moon side that's like, let's look at this practically. Let's like make sense of this and make sure that like it makes sense logically. So he has the capacity to be very, very intuitive and very, very logical as well, and have a really strong balance of both. Does that make you see him in a new light? Are you like, oh my gosh?
No, I know I can trust him. I know I don't just, I have to, I think the hardest part for me is letting it go. That's the part, like, so even, because I feel like I do everything all the time. So I want to start divvying up some of the chores or lives, like grocery shopping or meal planning for the month, or like all of those things. And it's like, I'm terrified to turn it over, because what are we going to eat for a month? But really, we won't starve.
No. And you just told me that you went for 2 or 3 weeks of eating chicken nuggets and cold cereal. So
yeah,
you're going to be fine. So you do that again for a month, like, okay, big deal.
yeah. So that's the part I need to like let go. It's the me part, not.
Is he willing to? Is he willing to help more? And is he willing to do stuff?
No. So he has ADHD, and he is so hyper focused on like himself, what gives him, that hyper focus. So he's a realtor, he's self-employed. He could essentially work from sun up to sundown and never see that there's that disconnect in our lives, that he's like missing our lives because he's being fulfilled in that. And so when I try and drag him back over to our side, it's like a squabble, and then he does really well for a little bit, and then he goes right back over here, and then I drag him back. So we've like done this a bunch of times, but
Okay.
like finding balance for both of us, because I do think I don't want to carry all of this. I don't want to.
So the key part that stands out to me of what you just shared is that he forgets and you drag him back. You probably like pick up the slack and then until it becomes overwhelming again and then kind of like remind him and da. So don't pick up the slack.
You sound like my mom.
Your mom's probably a very smart woman. But it's the
She's
same thing. It's the same thing. Have you ever studied Love and Logic or used Love and Logic with your kids? Are you familiar with that at all?
What that is.
So good. You would love it. How old are your kids?
8 and 5.
Yes, you would love it. It's called Love and Logic. I'm looking over at my bookshelf to see if I still have one, see who it's by. So there's one called Love and Logic Magic. It's a purple book. Charles Fay. F-A-Y.
Okay.
Jim and Charles Fay. Jim Fay, I think, is the main one, and Charles is his son, or vice versa. But it teaches you how and why that actually works, and how to let your kids learn to make choices and have the natural consequences of their choices while they're little, so that they learn about choices and consequences in your home, in your loving environment with your support. For example, so that when they get their first allowance and they blow $10 at the dollar store on candy and then they're sad the next day that it's all gone, they learn that when they're 5 versus blowing their first $2,000 paycheck and then not having money for food or rent because they just spent it on, clothes and eating out or whatever. So that's just like one example, but it's very much the energy of teaching our kids how to think for themselves and how to make those choices. And they have the capacity. And that's a lot of the challenges that the younger generation are experiences.
Yeah, baby.
They don't know how to make choices.
You don't need gum. Sorry.
You're good. So side note, that is, I highly, highly, highly recommend that to anyone that has little kids. It will make a world of difference in your life. It's life changing. Highly, highly. I thought I was going to lose my marbles as a mom of 3 until I found that book. And then from then on, it was like, oh, not that life didn't have challenges and there weren't like frustrations, but it was like very just so much simpler and so much easier.
Okay.
And it will help you even in your relationship with your husband, because you'll see, okay, is it worth, essentially what we're talking about is it worth me pretty much living the rest of my life, me being the one in charge and controlling everything? Or am I willing to go through a few weeks, months of things being, someone was working on a car engine right outside the window and it's so loud. Am I willing to go through a few weeks and months of messy middle in order to have a different result come out on the other end of it that is going to bless our lives for years to come?
Okay.
So that will really help. But ultimately, it's getting really clear on what are Sachi's roles and what are Tyler's roles, what are we each going to be responsible for, and then trusting each other to keep up your end of the bargain. And I can't speak into, do you need a minute?
Yeah. Go ahead. Keep.
Okay. Hi, cutie pie. You must be the 8-year-old.
No, he's my 5-year-old.
I know. I could tell.
Oh.
Fun. What's your name, bud?
What's your name?
Mac?
Braden. His name's
Braden.
Braden.
Oh, cute.
Why do I need lunch?
Because it's bedtime.
Okay, can I sleep with yours?
No, you're not sleeping in my room. School starts tomorrow.
So is it tomorrow every day?
Yeah, tomorrow. You're gonna one sleep.
Tomorrow, every day. So cute.
I know.
So cute. Oh, I forgot where I was talking about. What were we talking about?
Being clear on my roles versus Tyler's
Oh, yeah.
roles. Like,
Yeah, because then, like, even if his roles are the bills and the bills don't get paid, I hope that you have your bills just on direct, like, auto deposit or whatever, or direct, like, withdrawal.
Most of them.
Okay,
Yeah.
but if there's little things like that and it doesn't happen, then that's where you get to go into your beautiful feminine energy and trust him that it will happen. And he actually has to, like, have that responsibility for making that happen. Oh, that's what I was gonna say. I cannot speak into the whole how ADHD affects everything. I don't have, that's not my area of expertise.
Yeah.
That may need to look different. You might need to, like, figure out, okay, what's an in between of this? Maybe you, like, help him set up reminders or something like that, or different things so that he can have that responsibility. But obviously he's a functioning adult if he's a successful real estate agent.
And
So-
we've been married 10 years. We've been
Yeah.
together 13. Like I want, this is.
Yeah.
Like he's not a total idiot.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, he got me.
I know, it can't be that bad, right? I love it. But it's giving him a lot of the times for men with their wives, they revert into, like, mother-son role.
Yes.
Because wife just picks everything up and works everything out, just like mom did, if that was their relationship with their mom. And I don't know.
Yeah.
But that is what I would recommend is having a good conversation. Again, you sharing from your heart, from your feelings. I feel overwhelmed. I feel, and like, where in your body, I feel like my shoulders are always hunched over because of the burdens that I'm carrying. I feel sometimes like I'm going to be sick to my stomach trying to, like, control and handle all the things that are going on. And actually, like, it makes me feel, and I don't know what to do. Presenting your feelings, your emotion that you actually have in your body, presenting that to him and asking for his help.
Okay.
Because that allows him to go into Mr. Fix-It mode in his
Yeah.
masculine, logical energy. As a Capricorn, like, he's gonna love that. And you got his sun sign that he wants things to work out beautifully between you two. He wants that connection. He wants to love you and support you.
Yeah. This was super helpful. Thank you.
You're so welcome. I think it's going to bless everybody who listens to it, because this is a very, very common question. What follow-up, what details, what implementation, what do you need? What other questions do you still have along these lines or with another aspect?
I
Do you feel like you know how to have a conversation like that?
do feel like I know how to start a conversation like that, and then where it goes, because he's super defensive. That's an ADHD thing. So he always goes on attack,
Mhm.
no matter how I approach it. And then later on we can revisit it and he's like at a much calmer point. So
So it would
what
be
I
interesting to see how, if you can focus on your feelings of, like, this is how I feel this, I feel that, and it's not because you do this, I feel this. It's very much like, I don't know why, but I've been feeling this, and I've been feeling this, and I've been feeling this. And letting him be the logical one that figures things out.
Yeah.
And asking, like, when I'm having a conversation with this, like this with my husband, I'll say, I'm having a bunch of feelings that I don't quite know what to do with or how to figure them out. Would you be willing to help me with that and help me try and figure out what's going on?
Yeah.
And that gives them two options. That gives them the option to go, like, yes, I can. And they feel, like, powerful and, like they get to help you and support you with something. Or if they can't handle that right now, then they can say, not right now, or I can later, or whatever. But that makes sure that you're both clear on, like, we need to have, or this is going to be a deep conversation. Is this a good space and time for both of us, or when would that be?
Yeah.
A good resource that talks about this as well is a book called Magnetic Femininity. Actually, two books I would recommend for you. Magnetic Femininity by Ali Duzette.
Ali who?
Duzette, Duzzett, or maybe it's just one Z.
Okay.
Duzette. And then the other one is Sex Talks.
Sex Talks?
Sex Talks by
Um,
Vanessa
yeah.
Marin, Marin.
Okay.
So the Sex Talks one, that will give more insight into, like, your sexual relationship and how all that works, and really help to give some clarity. And then the magnetic femininity is really powerful and beautiful for what I was just sharing with you about.
Okay.
Ultimately, like what this all boils down to, Sachi, is my invitation for you tonight is for you to step more fully into that feminine energy. Baby steps, little bit at a time, but as much as you can safely do, as much as you're like I willing to move into, um, while still feeling safe and not feeling like you're completely up leveling or upheavaling all of your lives as you up level, because we don't want this to be, you don't want to do it like I did. I literally like kind of went off the crazy train for about 3 months, and my husband had to do everything because I was like, no, I'm in feminine energy. I don't have to work anymore. I don't have to do this. I don't have to do that. And he's like, okay. Like, I think the only reason he like stuck with it was because we were having a lot of sex, and he was like, if this is a trade-off, maybe it's worth it. Oh man, like when I look back, I'm like, oh my gosh. And when I finally realized what I had done, when I finally was able to come back to like this middle, like I'm a pendulum swinger, so I'm like, feminine energy, oh, we're all in, like whoosh, because I had been in such masculine energy that I whoosh, pendulum swung to the other side. And once I came back and found that like happy medium between the two and realized what I had done to him, I was like, I am so sorry. I'm so sorry that I put you through that. And he was like, it's okay. Thank you for apologizing. He's such a good man. He's so gracious. So I'm like, don't do that. Don't go on the crazy train like I did. But look for little ways that you can start. How can you trust more? How can you, even if it's just like, maybe we don't need to worry about this. Maybe the kids don't need to have baths every single night. Maybe we have cereal once a week on a regular basis. Maybe we, you know, I don't know, because I don't know your life, but little things that you can do to help you to just release any of that control, the need to get everything done so that you have space to breathe. You have space, like literal space in your calendar to just be like, hey, we have a couple hours free. What shall we do? And so like, no, we have to do, because it's not going to get any easier as they get older. They get involved in more things, and it just gets more scheduled and more all of that. And so learning now while they're younger to be able to find the balance and find and like let creating space be a priority for your family will make a huge, huge difference.
Yeah. Yeah.
What are you thinking? You're smiling.
Oh, no, our life is super scheduled out. So I'm like, I like that. I like the whatever survival night we'll call it at dinner. Like,
And it's beautiful. Like schedules are a beautiful thing. And that is feminine energy in itself. Like feminine energy takes, like, think of like sexually, like feminine energy takes the sperm and all stuff, and we organize it into a little body, and then we birth it. Like organizing is an aspect of feminine energy, scheduling, all that. But when that becomes our main focus, and when we don't have space to just be because we're so tightly scheduled, then it becomes not the beautiful thing that it's made to be. It becomes I don't know what my word is. Not
I
good.
literally schedule a day off. Like on Sundays,
Yes.
I write on the schedule, no plans. That like it has to be scheduled though, otherwise I schedule it. So I'm getting better. I'm scheduling time off,
That's beautiful. That's
but
beautiful.
you shouldn't have to schedule scheduling time off.
No, but in our like that's kind of effective life in our world. And so you taking the time and you recognize that, like, no, we are not going to schedule anything on this day because it's our schedule to be unscheduled. That's
Yeah.
perfect. It's beautiful. Finding what works for you.
Yeah. Thank you very much for tonight.
You are very welcome. Anything else before we finish up? That
I
feels
don't,
complete for now.
yeah, I feel good.
That was a lot to like to take in and to implement. So baby steps. There's no rush. You're just fine. Everything's good. God's got you.
Thank you.
Hey, you're welcome. Good night. Good luck with school tomorrow. You're gonna be great.
Thank you. Bye.
You're welcome. Bye.